Well, today we're going to continue with our program for last week. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Glad you're with us. Call your friends and say, you won't believe what Faye is doing now. I was on location in Miami looking for answers concerning the flooding of our nation by Muslims from the Middle East by our Department of Homeland Security and our State Department, and of course with Health and Human Services subsidizing them. We're being told by Senator Dianne Feinstein, the former Intelligence Committee chair, that ISIS and terrorists are here. Also, Jay Johnson, the Director of Homeland Security, is warning us that the terrorists are here. Members of Congress are coming out, and Ron Johnson and others are saying the terrorists are here. And not one interviewer has asked any of these people, well, where are they? And how did they get into our nation? Our national security is at the bottom of the list where our lawmakers are concerned. Sabotaging our sovereignty is at the forefront of their priorities. And it is a bipartisan sabotaging attempt. I want you to know that. Insulting our only ally in the Middle East, the Prime Minister of Israel, in the Mideast with a civilized culture, a government with laws and rules and safe to walk down the streets from the Israeli citizens, but the people who are merging in there, just like they're merging into our country, you never know when the bomb's going to go off, suicide vest is coming, and Allah is going to be glorified with an entry of another worshiper entering heaven to get his 70 virgins. What an insult a lot of our leaders have been, and coddling those who burn our flag, curse our nation, as we give billions to them to keep up their barbaric culture, to keep up the demands that everybody be like me or die off with the head. I mean, it's just becoming a normal thing. We're being desensitized to inhumane behavior. Not only that, we've got people in high places that are using our tax dollars to subsidize this kind of behavior. I do believe that it is time now that we recognize that our Justice Department stands for supporting the new Black Panther Party. I invite you to go to their website and let me know how you feel about what our Justice Department and our President supports. At the same time, they're suing the Little Sisters of the Poor. The twisted mindset of those that are on the payroll of the taxpayer must be recognized and must be confronted. We must find out how our nation is being flooded with Mideast refugees. When you hear the conclusions of my interview with Mr. Lunar, your eyes are going to be opened. I want you to call your friends. I want you to tell them Faye is on. It's time to pull down some strongholds. I have in my hand refugee resettlement organizations, addresses, and directions in this country. You will not believe what we're in for because of the Department of Immigration. They're being placed in strategic places by a centralized center in Washington, D.C. Do you want our nation to become a nation of Islam? I'm Faye Hardin. This is. Well, we're continuing our interview in Miami, actually in Little Havana. I don't want to get that wrong. A historic district of Miami, and I've learned so much by just being here and talking to our guests. And we're in the World Relief Organization's offices. And we were received so graciously by their director, Guillermo Luna. And I found that he is a born-again Christian. He came here from Guatemala 40 years ago with his children and his wife to flee persecution from the communists. Now, you know, my programs have been dealing with communism, and this is just right up my alley to be able to find someone that actually was persecuted so desperately that not only he, but thousands had to flee Guatemala to the United States for safety and security. So we're going to pick up where we left off last week, and I'm going to call him Mr. Luna because my North Carolina accent can barely pronounce, but I want him to pronounce his first name because it is really beautiful. So say it again for our audience that doesn't know how to speak
Real
Spanish.
easy, Guillermo Luna.
Guillermo, that's right. I got it wrong. It's Guillermo Luna. Well, welcome back.
Thank you, Faye. Glad to be with you.
We're excited to be here, and we're going to pick up from where we left last week. I am researching the refugee resettlements in Florida, basically, because that's where I live. And you are on the list of the federal government of being a certified resettlement organization.
Yes.
And you've been here how long?
Myself, 7 years in this position.
Okay, and for people who didn't get to see the program last week, let's refresh them just a little bit. You came from Guatemala.
Yeah, about 38, 40 years ago, I have served in other agencies as well, always in social work, helping immigrants and refugees, because I feel for them. I am one of them. So that I have, by choice, tried to work in agencies that serve others.
And we have just really been talking about the Miami area because that's basically where you function.
Yes.
with the World Relief. And last week we found out that there's a central base in, I guess, Washington that gets the applications from the refugee camps or people fleeing for persecution. They are directed to the states by the central bank, basically, according to what?
Their needs, family size, background, language, ethnicity, trying to figure out, you see, in what place they can find a better situation for resettlement. You see, in our case, because of geography, we resettle mostly Hispanic people and people coming from the Caribbean basin, Haitians
Here in Miami.
and Cubans mostly.
Okay, once they get approved and you've said, they've told you there'll be a family, pick them up at the airport, bus station, train station?
Mostly airport.
The airport. So they're flown by the U.S.
Yes.
government to the location place chosen by the U.S. government.
Yes.
And you pick them up, and let's go from there.
Okay. There are two cases. One is the family reunifications, in which the refugee coming in has family here, friends, relatives, uncles,
Okay.
aunts, whatever. So they would look for them and take them to their homes
Okay.
while they resettle and find jobs.
Okay.
The other group is what we call the free cases. That means
Okay.
people that don't come here without relatives, in which case it is a full responsibility for us as World Relief to find them places to live.
Okay. I have one question. When their family they have a family here, when they meet up with that family, are they subsidized by the taxpayer, or does the family assume responsibility for them? Or is the family also?
Yeah, but even though the family receives them, they come with the permission or an allowance to pay for their basic expenses, because we cannot just throw a family, even though they are relatives. We cannot put that burden in the hands of the receiving family. So they have a modest budget to pay for their expenses, because there are other expenses apart from rental or whatever. They have to eat, they have to be clothed, They have to transport themselves while they find jobs. So anyway, the answer is that there is a budget for each refugee coming that is federally provided.
So how do they get access to that, that assistance?
Yeah. For example, in the case of the food stamps, they are giving food stamps. It's the most immediate. They are giving a card so they can buy
They
food.
are given a card by whom?
By the federal
World
government.
Relief?
No.
Oh,
Federal,
okay.
of course.
They have to go to an office.
Yes. Children and family.
Children and family.
They
okay.
issue the card to them, and they
Okay.
can start from there.
Now they take the form that they're given as a refugee that
Oh yeah.
that's given to them wherever the central office is. They take, once you get them with their family, then they go to federal agencies,
Yeah. To children and family.
and then what
Yeah.
they decide
Yeah.
what
They have to fill out a form, you see, and they have to show their documents.
Right.
They have next to request their social security card, their EAD, that is the employment authorization document, and so they can work.
What about medical? Do they get?
They get their Medicaid card.
The
not
Medicaid
not
card.
Medicare.
Right,
They're
Medicaid.
because they are.
So they're set up for medical.
Yeah. So let's say that, God forbid, the next day one of the children is very ill.
Exactly.
They need an operation. Who's going to cover that? We cannot throw them
Right.
to the street. They're refugees.
Well,
of
now
Kenya.
under Obamacare, what do they get?
The same Medicaid card. That
So
is
it's no
good for
different.
up to about 8 months. It's not forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the next question. How long are they qualified for these services?
For 4 to 6 months
Okay.
in the general aspects, and up to 8 months for the Medicaid card.
But if they don't get jobs and they cannot afford to live, what happens after?
They'll have to appeal to social services and demonstrate why they cannot work. Are they ill? Are they incapacitated? I mean, that's a social work.
And then if they still don't have money, what happens?
I mean, they have to find something to do,
They
like anyone else.
refile, or are they
There are
here just
agencies.
as
There
a
are
homeless?
agencies that could. No, we tried never to send them homeless. You see, a refugee.
yeah, but after
should
6
not.
or 8 months and they run out of
We'll
resources.
help them as much as we can. You see,
You
to
still
find them
keep helping
places.
them.
Yes, finding jobs. For example, this young fellow that you met, Colombian, he doesn't speak English, and even before he received his documents, the card and the working permit, he find himself a job in a car wash and start earning some money to pay for his personal expenses. Even though we were providing some.
Right.
But he wanted to buy a bicycle, he wanted to
Right.
buy a TV set,
Right.
and of course the federal money is
They'll
not,
do
is not
something.
enough to buy TV sets. So
They'll do
he
something.
worked some,
Right.
washing cars in the street corner, and got some funds. And
Okay.
some others that receive gifts, love gifts from the relatives, you see, in which case they can use that money. Extra
Well,
money.
the apartments that you rent for the freeze, you said there's the second one is there. They come, you meet them first. You get them an apartment. Is there specific places that you
No.
use, or
We have certain
just wherever you want to get an
no,
apartment?
certain guidelines. The area has to be a safe area. We
Okay.
cannot throw them in a crime-ridden
So
area.
they're not in the same, all in the same place.
No, it has
Like
to
the
do
inner
with-
city and the.
Yeah, not inner city. We can help it because most of them have children. We have to think through. It is a man alone, a woman alone. It is a couple. Do they have small children, grown-up children? That depends. You see how we find them the apartment,
Right.
and we rent the apartment for them, and they can get there. And not only that, we have to furnish the apartment because they don't have. We don't come from the airplane with beds and tables and furniture of any sort. So we
So
have
you
to
just
provide.
set them up for a life.
And there are guidelines. For example, they have to find food in the fridge, you see, for the first 10 days. And they have to have basic furniture, a decent dwelling,
Okay.
you see, while they can just be self-sufficient.
Okay.
But the most important thing is to find them a job, to put them in school so they can start learning English, ESL program, that's mandatory.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Now, how do they stay supervised,
Oh.
or how do people keep up? Do they have to go somewhere?
they
like
have to come here to these desks, you see,
how often?
every week. You see,
Every week.
to see how
To
they
give
are
a
evolving.
report.
Yeah, to give a report.
What if they don't come?
They won't be given the next check of support.
What if they commit a crime? Or they're
They'll go to jail as anyone else.
And the support?
That'll be dependent on what type of crime they committed. It was because they were spitting in the floor or they assaulted someone. You see, it depends on the case. But
As to whether they lose their support or not.
Of course. If they are jailed for long, you see, they'll be fed at the prison.
What do you see as the weakest point of absorption to all of the refugees that are being brought into our country?
I'll tell you, it is in certain areas like here. This is an impacted area because many come here.
Right.
You see, so the weakest point is the availability of jobs. I'll tell you for the audience so you can join us in your prayers. Most people will find that jobs are available in Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade, but they are small jobs, paying $8 an hour.
Right.
And life is expensive here, you see. So that's one area. Jobs are available, and in most cases, big
but
companies,
nobody can live on the salary.
yeah, of course. Jobs are available. Most of them are part-time jobs with no benefits, Faye. You see?
I know. That's a nationwide.
Unless
So what do you attribute that to? This is one of the most visited places in the Miami Beach, Miami area. You got the drug kings, which they're throwing money like crazy. You got the hotel magnates. Even Donald Trump has just built a huge. You've got people who burn money.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Absolutely.
The celebrities, and then you've got
Very poor.
The poor. Where is this?
Well, that's
The manufacturers. This is the problem with America.
yeah, these are discrepancies. But coming back to the point, jobs are there, but we have to make an effort to find them better jobs than that. Full-time
Who does
jobs.
that?
Ourselves. You see,
You
we
and
try-
your organization.
yeah, we have a job developer for the program. A person that is dedicated to find the best possible jobs for them. Some have academics, you see. Some are professionals coming from other countries.
That is awesome.
And then even people coming from Iraq and other countries, they speak English.
That is
They're
awesome.
engineers. Those you have
See,
a
you've
good
got-
option.
You're organized.
Yes.
Right.
Others come from Cuba like peasants or with small skills, so we still have to find them the best possible option for them.
Well, what is the overwhelming obstacles that you're facing now with such a flood?
Yeah, that's what I told you.
What?
Is to find them jobs because
But what
the
you're
goal-
not finding them. So what is that? What's happening now? Since the jobs are not there,
They had
where
to
does this
stay.
leave
They
you?
had to stay in the part-time job, earning $8 an hour, until they can find themselves another job to complete. You see, or something else. But our effort is that, you see, to keep them with the goal before them, which is the goal of the refugees, is self-sufficiency. They need to become self-sufficient,
Man.
not to depend on the state, from the
Man.
federal government, or from World Relief, or anyone, which is the life of each one of us.
this
We
is
have to be-
America.
we have
That's
to be
right.
self-sufficient ourselves.
That's right.
You see.
Well, look, we're out of time.
Okay.
I want to go outside because I want people to see this
facility.
This is one of the most efficient. I have interviewed agencies before, and you can see what's happening with IRS. And I mean, everything is under scrutiny, and everything seems to be going wrong in America because it's just they're not organized. But this is one of the most organized organizations that's connected to working as a service organization with our federal government I have ever been in, and I'd like to commend Mr. Luna for a fantastic job.
Thank you, Faye. And let's remember that it was founded on Christian faith. That was the originator 70 years ago, founded a World Relief in Boston.
This is based on Christianity in America, and it's still thriving.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Well, I'm inviting you to be a part of our campaign, The Outpouring 3000. God spoke to me at the beginning of the year. He said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. And that's what we're going to do. I'm asking 3,000 of my television viewers if you would become a partner with me, and I want to send you a beautiful outpouring candle. I want to send with that a small flag, American flag, and the prayer calendar that will keep you on track to call forth in this nation this year a great outpouring. Get my face facts and understand the Bible study that God gave me in the book of Acts, and we will see change in America.
Get your Outpouring 3000 bundle today. Call Faye now.
Faye,
Okay.
This beautiful building was made in 1927 as a Presbyterian church with great division.
Wow.
This was the suburbs or the outskirts of the city of Miami.
Okay, 1927.
1927.
As
yes.
what?
As a Presbyterian church.
Okay.
And since then it has served as a church.
Okay.
And we are located here because refugees and immigrants feel more confident to come into a church building as against into a business building.
Now you're telling me that the church that's connected, you rent
Yeah, we rent the floor.
the
yes.
floor.
Because
Okay.
there are 4 other entities here. The church itself,
Okay.
there is a daycare,
Okay.
and a third church that meets here in the facilities as well.
Okay. And you've
And
been here
ourselves.
how long?
12 years in this location. Yes.
12 years. And having the pastor's backup is wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
But you yourself are affiliated with another church in
Yeah.
Miami, and you're ordained.
My church, you see, in which I serve as a volunteer, is a Baptist church here in town.
Okay. Well, we're just going to get a few shots of the building.
Okay, come this way.
And let's see the property. And this is going to wrap up our program. But you're going to see the World Relief immigration sign
Refugiados means refugees.
in Spanish
Yes.
and in
That says
English.
immigration and refugees. The telephone number, and it says parking and entry from 9th Street. But it's well announced, and you can see here facility is very appropriate. One thing we have is plenty of parking space. You will say,
You do.
Does that matter? A great deal.
It does.
You see, because all around us, parking is paid.
Well, it looks like a fort.
Yeah.
So we're going to get just a little bit more of the actual location, and
Do
we're
you
going to
want
wrap.
to?
We're going to do a wrap with this, and we will be back. I can tell you that. I know that we're going to be back.
Okay.
I'm Faye Hardin. This is Mr. Luna. We're on location in Little Havana, and we are trying to figure out what's going on with all of the people fleeing their nations to come to this nation for safety.
Yeah.
And we have found a lot of information today. God bless you. Shalom. Well, I'm inviting you to be a part of our campaign, The Outpouring 3000. God spoke to me at the beginning of the year. He said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. And that's what we're going to do. I'm asking 3,000 of my television viewers if you would become a partner with me, and I want to send you a beautiful outpouring candle. I want to send with that a small flag, American flag, and the prayer calendar that will keep you on track to call forth in this nation this year a great outpouring. Get my face facts and understand the Bible study that God gave me in the book of Acts, and we will see change in America.
Get your Outpouring 3000 bundle today. Call Faye now.
Well, I shared at the beginning of our program that I have the addresses and locations, phone numbers. This is the United States offices that are aiding immigrants that are coming into this country due to persecution and resettling here. You need to get a copy of your state. I just took the copy of Florida, went to Miami, been waiting a year to go, made phone calls, and ended up in the office of Mr. Lunar, one of the most absolutely proficient, God-fearing men I have ever met. The World Relief Organization
And what we are doing is bringing you the light. What he did is tell us how our immigration is supposed to work, how we are supposed to bring people and walk them through into a lifestyle that they can live here due to vast persecutions. I want you to compare that to what is really, really going on. The only thing we can do is, I have a report that the Department of Homeland Security is soliciting bids for 34 million ID cards for illegals. They will be citizenized. They will get Social Security numbers. They're going to get benefits. They're going to get tax credit up to, I think, sometimes $15,000, $20,000 each. Our government is hijacking the people in this country. Our Congress is useless. They have totally disregarded our Constitution. They're not going to change that unless we get involved. I need for you today to say, Faye, I believe in what you're doing. I need for you to get on board with us as an intercessor, one of 120, going to pray for an outpouring of the Holy Spirit in this country, that we can take millions to Washington, D.C. after 120 days of prayer. I want to hear from you. Say, Faye, I'm getting on board. I want to encourage you today to get my DVD on Obamacare, The Untold Story. We uncovered in our research who wrote this bill and why. It merges the amnesty bill with the Obamacare bill for the sole purpose of establishing a one-party system. You see the people and the faces. It was not the Congress. It was unconstitutional, and this DVD will be a life changer for you, and you'll understand why seniors must get the facts. The DVD is available. Senator Ted Cruz says that because of this disastrous law, millions of Americans are out of work or unable to find full-time work. Seniors are dying at the hands of Obamacare.
Get Obamacare, The Untold Story DVD today. Call Faye now.
Faye wants to hear from you. Her desire to see America come out of exile is raising up one of the most powerful, informed, anointed, and united prayer networks in America for America. She is organizing Christians for the U.S. Constitution to give uncompromising believers back their voice and witness. If this program has blessed you and you believe in what Faye is doing, contact her, pray with and for her, partner with her. She would love for you to host an Insight rally in your church or city. Organize an Intercessors with Insight prayer team or join one. For a complimentary pocket-sized constitution or Faye's fax, call or email Faye 407-265-0700 or faye.usainsight@gmail.com. Write Insight USA, P.O. Box 917689, Longwood, Florida 32791.